Hey guys, it's App Reviewer. Today we'll be taking a look at the Spigen Ultra Thin Air case for the Google Nexus 4. As the name states, it's an ultra thin case, which is basically a snap-on case that wraps around the sides and back of your Nexus 4 to offer good scratch protection. Because the case is so thin, it doesn't really offer much drop protection, and there are some similar ones out there on the market which I'll compare to. So the case itself retails for $19.99. You can pick it up in one model, which is this black one right here. And within the packaging, you will get a screen protector. So let's open it up and I'll show you exactly what you'll get. You get the case itself, which as you can see is a glossy finish. So it doesn't really have a lot of grip onto it compared to some other ones out there. You can see the inside has a sticker on there. Let's set that aside. And then if we open up the package itself, you can see you'll get a little goodie pack. And within this, you'll find your microfiber cloth, a little pamphlet with some other products they have, and then your ultra crystal screen protector. So I've actually got one of these installed on the Nexus 4. It's a really good protector, so you do get some decent value for money there. Let's set that aside and we'll take a look at the case and how it looks and fits. So before we pop the case onto Nexus 4, I quickly want to run by the design and compare it to some other existing cases out there which have a very reminiscent design. So you can see it has a semi-glossy finish, which is hard to explain because while it's not a matte finish, it does tend to pick up a lot of fingerprints on it, and you can see the light does reflect out of it a little bit. So while it's not a completely glossy finish, it is a pretty unique finish, which I do like. But like I mentioned, it does get a little bit of smudging on there. Right, cut out for your camera, speaker, Spigen branding right here is nice and subtle, so not too bad. On the inside, you do have a sticker to protect the back of your Nexus 4 from scratching. And then you can see the sides are covered, but the top and the bottom are fully exposed. I quickly want to bring out some competitor cases. This is the Nexus case, which is very similar in a form factor, but the back is textured, as you can hear. I've also got the rear Thinky Slim Light case, which is probably the most similar to it, except that it's a little bit thicker. So the Ultra Thin is definitely the thinnest case. And then here's the thickest of the bunch. This is the Distronic Hard Shell case, which the difference on this one is it has a completely matte finish, so pretty good on that part. You can see the form factor is almost identical on all these. Some of them are a little bit thicker, some are thinner, and then the price points are different. The Spigen was actually the most expensive at 20 bucks, and then you can find the Nexus for about 5 or 6. Rears is about 12 bucks, and then Distronic is about 10 bucks. So really with this Spigen case, you're actually paying for the Spigen name, and you also get a good screen protector in it, so it's not too bad. But I do want to mention, when it comes to a fit, you can see it is pretty easy to install, but it's not the tightest of fits. You don't really have to worry about this case falling off or anything, but it's super easy to take it off because the fit is probably the loosest of the bunch. So loose is a very loose term, to be honest, because it might seem like the case is going to fall out of your phone, but honestly it's not. It's nice and solid. It's going to fit perfectly. But compared to some of these cases right here, these fit the phone much tighter. So it's basically your preference. I prefer a tight fit just because it leaves no air gap. This one right here just feels a little bit looser, a little bit more flimsy, but really it's not terrible at all. You can see on the back you got that cutout for your camera. Fits nicely. It is a little bit recessed in there, but because the case is so thin, pretty much the whole form factor is very slim. Also got a cutout for your speaker grill. No issues there. Once again, as I mentioned, the Spigen branding is real subtle. You can see on the right hand side you've got a perfect cutout for your power button, which works fantastic. I love how the case feels just because it's so thin right here that you don't really feel that edge on the plastic, so it's just super easy to press like the naked button. Same thing goes for the volume rocker side. Really comfortable to press, nice responsiveness on it. Top, you can see you got your headphone jack and your microphone fully exposed, so this might be prone to some scratching near the chrome area. Same thing goes for the bottom. You've got all your ports and cutouts there fully exposed. So for the most part, Spigen's done a really good job with all the ports and the cutouts, but I do wish their fit was a little bit tighter. Like nearly every other snap-on case on the market, the Spigen Ultra Thin Air case offers nearly no drop protection, and the reason for that is pretty clear. The material is so thin around it that it really won't protect from a scuff, a drop, or even a bump. So really you're going to buy this case for two reasons. Number one is the design, which I think looks pretty hot, and number two is the scratch protection, which is actually pretty decent. So you get the back, the sides, and the front, if you include the screen protector, fully covered. But the top and the bottom will be fully exposed, as I mentioned, so you might pick up some scratches on the chrome over time, which is pretty much what I see happening because it is pretty heavily exposed. Overall, the Spigen Ultra Thin Air is a decent case at best, and there's 3 major letdowns which make me rank it a decent case instead of a good or an amazing case, and I quickly want to run by those. Number one is price. At $20, it's really hard to recommend it simply because you can pick up 2 or 3 Nexus cases and 2 rear Thinky Slim Light cases. So you can pick up better cases at a more affordable price, so it makes it really tough to recommend. Number 2 is the coating. You can see the Nexus case has a textured back. The Rio Thrinky case has a glossy back, and even though the Spigen Ultra Thin Air has another glossy back, the fit on it and just the overall coating on it is pretty bad. And the reason for that is because, yes, it's glossy and that's fine with me, but I just hate the fact that it's super slippery. It's much more slippery than these two, which means that you're going to drop it more often. And a case like this that offers nearly no protection is pretty bad to drop your phone in. Finally, the last one is the fit. It's not a complete letdown because, as I mentioned, it's not a terrible fit. It's just pretty loose compared to these two right here. So honestly, if you want a snap-on case, I do recommend first the Rio Thrinky Slim Light case and second the Milken case. So I'll have a link to the Spigen case down below. As I mentioned, not a terrible case by any means, but these two are simply more affordable and better cases. So if you want to check out the Spigen case, you can do so on the website, which is www.spigen.com. I'll have their links down below, and thanks so much for watching, guys, and stay tuned for more. Cheers.